Welcome to Sunday Reflections, 5 questions for your spiritual growth. This week, we explored the topic of transcendence, what it is, and how to use the tools geared toward your own spiritual growth, spiritual awakening process, and to recognize that the tools themselves are about leading you through the experience of transcendence, but the tools are not transcendence in and of themselves, but they lead you to it. So we are going to explore some questions for you to ponder, reflect upon, and journal in order to help you on your spiritual journey. Hi, my name is Michelle Fondin. I am the author of 12 published books, including Chakra Healing for Vibrant Energy, exploring your 7 energy centers with mindfulness, yoga, and Ayurveda, and the 8 limbs of yoga for modern times, a practical guide to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. You can find all of my published books on Amazon and Ingram Spark. The reason I am doing this on Sundays for the end of the theming of the week is because in my published books, in most of them, I have questions to ponder and journal, just like in this book, Chakra Healing for Vibrant Energy. And because that is the way I teach so that you can integrate this knowledge into your life, because of course, it is more meaningful for you when you can integrate these lessons into your life directly rather than just hearing about them. So let's go ahead and dive into the 5 questions for this week. Question number 1 is, where in my life am I relying too heavily on the map instead of trusting my own experience? In one of the videos, or both of the videos this week, in fact, I really spoke about mistaking the map for the territory. The map are the tools that you use. The territory is your own experience and how you navigate through your spiritual process, your spiritual awakening process, or any of the lessons that you are learning. So it's really important to recognize this in yourself. Question number 2, which spiritual tools genuinely calm and align me, and which ones create more confusion? In the videos, I spoke about how sometimes when we get overzealous on the spiritual journey, that we try so many different tools, different teachers, different healing modalities, and different types of new agey or spiritual type things, and we can get easily confused and feel more lost in the sauce, as I mentioned. But I also mentioned that it's important to choose at least 1 or 2 tools or teachers or what have you to help you navigate your spiritual journey that make you feel good. So in this one, you are going to recognize which tools make you feel good and which tools lead you to more confusion. Question number 3. What resistance arises when I try to sit alone with myself in silence? All right, I mentioned that a lot of people feel great discomfort sitting in silence with themselves. And that means no noise whatsoever. No distractions, no noise with your eyes closed, or even maybe with your eyes open if you're observing nature. But I'm really talking about total silence, being with yourself, being with your thoughts. And that's something that I teach in my meditation course. So when you think about this, when you think about sitting alone, no distractions, no phone, no computer, no TV, sitting alone in total silence, what comes up for you? Do you have fears? Do you have anxieties? Is something happening in your body physically that makes you reject this notion? Write it all down. Number 4, when have I experienced a moment of transcendence without even trying? What did it feel like? In the video, I also explained the fact that If your soul is ready to transcend into higher states of consciousness, that it will do it spontaneously, that there's nothing you really need to do to try to make it happen. Yes, meditation is essential, but that is essential on all levels for all aspects of life. However, your soul, if it's needing to move on to the next level of transcendence and you're open to it, you're going through a spiritual awakening, it will happen naturally. And sometimes we have those transcendent moments that require zero effort. Abraham Maslow referred to those as peak moments. Peak moments are moments of transcendence when time stands still. And so when you have had those types of experiences, you know, because you're just awestruck, you are in awe. Write it down. Number 5, what would it look like this week to relax and allow my spiritual awakening instead of working so hard to control it? In the videos this week, I also mentioned the fact that we can get into this very goal-oriented type of work when it comes to our spiritual journey. And usually that doesn't quite work. We can't really be goal-oriented on our spiritual journey and be successful because the spiritual journey is very flowing. It's ethereal. It doesn't require organization. It's more spontaneous. So we can certainly have our tools that we like to use, right? Whether it's doing tarot readings, astrology, Reiki healing, using tools such as a pendulum. It's something I teach in my tarot reading class. Or you might want to do yoga, meditation. You might want to do Tai Chi, Qigong, taking walks in nature. So you can have these tools at your disposal. But when we really try to make it like we're going to school and we put so much work on ourselves to move through it, that's when it slips away from us. The idea of moving into those transcendent states, they tend to slip away if you're really trying to control them. So how can you let go a little more? How can you relax? How can you let go? How can you let yourself expand spiritually without trying so hard? I'm going to answer one for you just to give you an example. So I'm going to do number 4. When have I experienced a moment of transcendence without even trying? I have so many examples, but I'm going to give you one that's a relatable example. I gave this in one of my videos, I believe, but I will repeat it here in case you didn't see that. When I went to visit Amma, the hugging saint, I believe it was either the first or the second time I went to see Amma. I think in the video I mentioned it was my first time, but I really think it was more my second time. Anyway, no matter. When I went to visit this beautiful person who she is known as the hugging saint. She is known to live in unconditional love. She's a teacher, a spiritual teacher, a guru, a guide in India. And she is a woman who really embodies peace at its highest level, unconditional love at its highest level. And many people come to her worldwide, or she goes to different cities and you can receive hugs from her. That is her mission, embracing the world for peace. So this particular moment in time when I went to see Amma, the hugging saint, I was waiting like everybody has to wait. And I was waiting, and they give you a little ticket at the beginning of the day. So I was waiting, but it was finally almost my turn, almost. And what happened was they have you lining up or queuing up on the stage where Amma is sitting, but they have rows of people leading up to her when it's your turn. And people will guide you there. So there's really nothing you have to do. Someone will come and get you and take you to her. And I was sitting up on the stage and I was pretty much at the back of the queue there. And they had us sitting so people could see Amma and not see all these people standing around her. And I was sitting and I wasn't thinking anything in particular. I wasn't doing anything in particular. but I began crying, not out of sadness, not out of joy, but just spontaneously crying. And it was waterworks. Like the tears would not stop no matter what I did. And I was a little bit embarrassed because I was like, what is happening? What I later learned, probably a few years later, but what I later learned was that being in her presence, being in that state of unconditional love and unconditional peace, being in that vibrational state is extremely healing for anyone nearby, and it helps you to elevate to that state. Now, because at that moment in time, I wasn't really vibrating at that state all the time, or maybe not even half the time, or maybe not even a quarter of the time, but it certainly caused a physical response in me where I had this spontaneous breakdown. And I feel like it was a breakdown of my barriers, a breakdown of past trauma, a breakdown of many things. So I was elevating into higher states of consciousness just by virtue of being in her presence. So that would be a spontaneous moment of transcendence that wasn't planned. I didn't plan on that, and I could not foresee it. And I didn't really do anything to make it happen. It was just being in the presence of higher vibrational states that led me to that. And in the end, it was a beautiful experience. It was a releasing experience. And I feel that I became a better person because of that. Meaning, I had burned away a lot of my anger, a lot of my hatred. There was a lot of trauma in my childhood. And so I feel like in that moment, a lot of that was burned away. So that is my story about a spontaneous moment of transcendence, and write down what yours might be. It might not be that stark for you either. For you, it might just be having your breath taken away by a beautiful sunset or a beautiful sunrise. That is a transcendent moment, my friend. So I hope this is helpful for you as we wrap up this week on the theming. It's all about transcendence and the tools that come with it. You can visit my website, michellefondinauthor.com, for so many resources on helping you awaken and calibrate on your spiritual journey. Check out any or all of my 12 published books. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, giving the video a thumbs up and commenting and sharing with others. It is so appreciated. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday, and I will see you in the next video.